Hi. Hi there. How you guys doing? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Tola Talks, and in this video I'm going to be talking about Boris's latest announcements regarding his one-way road to freedom, because guys, we've been in lockdown for just way too long, like way too long. But first, shout out to my day ones, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. My channel is all about professional and personal development, so if that's what you're looking for, I'm your girl. So yeah, let's get right into it. So lots of you know that I'm very passionate about the youth, their education, their development in general. So what I want to do in this video is kind of just talk a bit more about the 4 steps involved with Boris's, I guess, roadmap to the UK no longer being in lockdown, and then particularly how that affects the youth, and then just, you know, sharing a few thoughts and ideas about how as a collective we can kind of just like look forward and be positive about everything that's going on, because let's be real, like, it's hard times. These are hard times. Well, the key dates are March 8th, March 29th, April 12th, and June 21st. June 21st. Okay, so March 8th, supposedly when schools, colleges, universities, everything of that sort is supposed to start back. They're going to reopen. Students will be coming to school physically. And March 29th is when we're looking at the stay-at-home orders kind of been lifted. We're still not allowed to, you know, mix with other households and things like that. But there's just a little bit more freedom, just a little bit. April 12th is where we're looking at, you know, kind of indoor activities or indoor sports activities going on. So for example, your gyms are opening, because prior to April 12th, we were only kind of allowed to do outdoor sports activities with, you know, is it 6 other people, up to 6 other people, something like that anyway. But yeah, so April 12th, not much difference there, but you know, it's a process, you know, it's a process. However, June 21st is the date that most people are just really concerned about. That's what we're looking forward to. It's the end of the process. It's the date that, you know, London or the UK as a whole should just kind of reopen. We can't say things are going to go back to normal, because let's face it, we definitely have a new normal. Things are never going to be how they were before. However, things like nightclubs, restaurants, all that kind of stuff will be open. Basically, there'll be no more legal limitations or restrictions. We are able to go to each other's houses legally, and yeah, that's basically it. But I really just kind of want to focus on the March 8th right now. Just a side note, like before we get there, I just want to say, like, I'm so excited about this June 21st, okay, because believe it or not, I am a bit of an introvert. I know. It's so hard to believe, I know. But your girl, she's an introvert. Like I'm an what do you call it? Extroverted introvert. So like only places I'm really trying to go to would have been work, church. If I got dance training or rehearsal, I'm gonna have to go to that. But everything else, like, I can entertain myself at home. Like, you're really gonna have to convince me big time to, you know, to go out to central London. Like, no one really has time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So I'm not gonna lie, lockdown in that sense hasn't been, you know, too terrible for me, because I'm not really trying to go anywhere anyway. However, a girl has plans. Like, I have big plans for this year. I have things that I want to do and achieve, and I kind of need lockdown to be lifted in order for me to do those things. So that's my own personal, you know, want and desire for lockdown to just kind of be done and over with. Anyway, so back to March 8th, right? So this is the date that the schools reopen. And I just want to know, you know, like, how are students feeling generally? Like, they've been working or schooling from home for all this time, and now, you know, they're being asked to come back to school. Is it safe? Do you feel comfortable? Are you feeling anxious? Like, what are your feelings about this situation? I can't even imagine or dealing with this, you know, pandemic if I was back at school. I mean, it wasn't that long ago when I was at school, you know, not that old. Okay, it was a good few years, maybe a decade or something like that. But anyways, honestly, I don't have had a problem with schooling from home, because I'm not gonna lie, my school was kind of far from where I lived. It was like a commute. It wasn't even a commute. I was traveling. I was doing like a voyage every day. And if I didn't have to do that, mate, I'm happy. And to be fair, like, my family comes from a very, you know, kind of educational background. So we were always having tutors. We always, you know, were working at home anyway. So me not being at school physically wouldn't really have made much of a difference, other than it's just a bit more convenient for me. But I do know when it came to A levels, which is, you know, when you're kind of like 16 to 18 years old, I found it very, very challenging. A levels, GCSEs, mate, boss that. That was like, you know, but A levels, the gap, the gap. Let me say it again. The gap between GCSEs and A levels, you know, it's quite a big one. So I know that I would have benefited from as much help and resources and support as I could have during that time. And I feel like students living in this pandemic haven't really had that access. They haven't had that support or those resources. If you're a student, you know, please share your thoughts, put it in the comment section down below. I know something that the government have done is they've put a lot of funding into summer schools, face-to-face summer schools, national tutoring program, basically trying to find different things and different ways to kind of bridge that learning gap that existed because of, you know, the pandemic and lockdown and everything like that. As a youth leader at my church, I reached out to some of the youth who I oversee over the past week, and, you know, I just wanted to ask them how they're doing, just checking on them, how they're doing generally, with family life during the lockdown, school in particular. If there are any subjects that they're kind of struggling with and they need help, they can ask me. Yeah, but, you know, to God be the glory, everybody seemed fine. The only thing that kept coming up was just their lack of motivation. I do not blame them. Like, it's not easy. Like, it's really not easy. Even as a working adult, motivation is like, it's rare. Like, you have to work hard in this time to find that motivation. And you know what, I think of, like, if somebody's trying to lose weight, if I'm trying to lose weight and I know that, yo, there's this dress that I'm really trying to work and, you know, it needs to fit right. If I see that dress, I'm like, oh, that's the dress. I need to make sure that I'm looking snatched. Like, that's enough motivation alone for me to just kind of be like, okay, let me work out, let me do what I need to do, because I can see kind of like the end goal. I can see something that I'm working towards. However, for our students here in the UK, it's been very hard for them to see what their future's even looking like, because there's just been so many ups and downs with what's happening with schools opening and closing and lockdown being on and off and exams, what's happening. Like, there's just so many questions. I feel like they're in limbo, so it's very hard to kind of like remain focused and motivated when it's not really clear to you, you know, what your future's looking like. Like, it's just not the same how it used to be. So my heart does actually go out to them. I just hope that everything will just work out how it's supposed to. And with everything, you know, just try to remain motivated. If you need to talk to somebody, if you need to ask questions, like, just ask away, like, and just know that you're not in this by yourself. There are so many others who are going through the same thing, so one person can help another person. That's just, you know, my outlook on it. That's kind of what motivated me, funny enough, to make this video, because I just felt like it's a real issue. And the fact that, you know, everything's happening now, that the schools are going to be opening, is that motivation going to automatically come back when they get back to school? Or are they even going to lose motivation? Are they going to feel like, oh, when they get into the school environment, they'll notice how much of that gap is there, and then is that going to be enough to kind of demotivate them? So, like, where did they stand with everything? So what I wanted to just come in and say was, with all of it, just try to look on the bright side of things. Use these challenges as motivation in itself to kind of push you forward. And one thing that, you know, in the past I would always say to like my mentees or my students is that, you know, when you go for interviews and when you're writing your personal statements, they're asking you all these competency-based questions like, tell me about a time you had to overcome an obstacle or a challenge or anything along those lines. This is it. This is the time. I'm always saying, you know, don't limit it to, you know, oh, when I was in school I did this, or in the workplace I did that. Like, I always tell you, use life events as examples, just to kind of show like the skills that you have, so you're not just limited to one kind of box. But this is definitely a life event. And just because, you know, it's a global pandemic that's affected literally everyone in the world, affected everybody differently. For some people, like, nothing has changed. For some people, the lockdown has been, you know, a blessing in disguise. For others, it's literally been a matter of loss, whether that's loss of family members, friends, jobs, motivation, all of it. So yeah, definitely use this opportunity to see how strong you are, to overcome such a challenge, and, you know, give yourself a pat on the back for getting through, because honestly, it's not easy. The second thing I wanted to say was use this opportunity to learn a new skill and to better yourself. You know, I'm always saying I'm about personal and professional development. Look at me, for example. This period, you know, it's been a tough period, just like it has been for everybody else. The job market has been crazy. That can be very, very, you know, demotivating and discouraging, but you just have to kind of keep going. And when that was, you know, something that I was seeing and experiencing, I just took it as an opportunity to be like, you know what can I do to better myself? So I ended up taking up the course at Cambridge and volunteering in the career area that, you know, I'm interested in. So just doing things that I know that in the long run is going to help me for my future. Also, at the beginning of lockdown last year, when everything was happening in the UK, I was actually stranded abroad. And you know what, I use the term stranded very loosely because I'm not gonna lie, low-key I was actually very much enjoying. However, you know, I didn't plan to be away for so long, and the way how my bank account was set up at the time, like, you know, I had to get back. So yeah, but during that time that I was away, I became so creative with regards to just kind of like being more creative in how I was doing my dance videos and coming up with concepts, and even editing videos was something that I just used to look at people and be like, how do you even do that? And now I have a YouTube channel where, I'm not gonna lie, the best part of my YouTube experience is actually editing, because as much as I can talk for the whole of the UK, I love the editing part, because I feel like, wow, this is like, I'm literally creating something, like I'm piecing something together. And when you see the finished result, it's rewarding. There's still a lot that I'm learning. But still, it's a learning process, and that's what it's all about. I hope that can be encouraging to other people during this time. If you have the opportunity, learn how to dance, learn how to sew, learn how to speak another language. There are so many apps out there that you can use, Duolingo. Just different things that you personally think you can do to develop yourself for the now, and you never know how you're going to be able to use it in the future. So that will be like, you know, my words of wisdom for you guys. I hope it's actually been, you know, a bit helpful. I do feel like I was kind of like rambling on a bit, but yeah, this is just more like it's not really something I prepared as much, but it's just definitely like some thoughts that I had over the week, and I definitely wanted to kind of share it with you guys, or at least hear from you too. So like I said, if you have any input, stories, or just anything you reckon you can share with regards to how we can, you know, encourage our youth and our students and kind of like help them feel a bit more settled about going back to school, and how we can help them and, you know, keep them motivated during this time, then by all means, please do share in the comment section down below. Okay guys, thank you for listening. Again, shout out to all of you. I appreciate you watching my videos, and yeah, can't wait to see my next one. So love you and goodbye.